It's time for the Luke Howard Show! Thank you! Oh, thank you very, very much for usual applauses. Thank you. I'm here all day. Thank you. Such a great applause, absolutely love it. Morning. It's Wednesday the 3rd of June. Wow, we're 3 days into June already. Hasn't it gone quick? Wow. Hope everyone's well, and I hope you're all having a great week so far. And of course, hope your day's going well, as I just said. So, got a great show today, got lots going on, absolutely lots. We got stuff to talk about, we're playing some great music, whole lot of play. It's a great way to kickstart your day. We're also talking about what's on telly tonight, and we're also doing lots more, including National Day for today. Got lots of that to come as well. So first of all, I've noticed this, okay, and they're closing off a lot of high streets around our area. They did Ware the other day, I think I did talk about this the other day, and they did Hertford the other day as well, and now they're also doing our high street as well. So are they closing your high street down in your town? Would love to hear from you on the show today. Do get in touch with us. 07593 847 105 is the number to text or call. If you are texting though, I would suggest you put talk and your name and where you're from, or just give us a call and we'll call you back and we'll give you a mention on the show. Or you can email us. We love an email. GaryJHoward68 at hotmail.com or 345457 at student.hrc.ac.uk. Just let you know these two are separate emails. Or you can find us on social media. At Luke Howard fan page is the one to follow on Instagram. Drop us a message on there. Or you can use the hashtags, hashtag Luke Howard, hashtag Luke Howard Show, hashtag stay at home and listen to the Luke Howard Show. Would love to hear from you, so do get in touch. Right, so let's kickstart now with what's been going on in the news. Now, not yesterday, but the day before, Monday, the Queen was seen in her garden in Windsor. Now, she was seen riding a horse. This was actually for the first time ever since lockdown began. So, the 94 years old, she's been a monarch for years and years. For I don't really remember how long it's been, because I was born in 2002, so I don't really know how long it's been. So, anyway, so she's photographed in a colourful headscarf, tweeded jacket. This is joppers, that's it, joppers. White gloves and riding boots. On a 14-year-old fell pony at Balmoral Fern. She regularly rides in the grounds of her favourite royal residence, Windsor Castle. I thought it should be Sandringham, really. I've been to Sandringham many times, and Buckingham Palace. I've been there once as well. They're both amazing places, but I've never been to Windsor Castle, so I don't really know what it's like. So, the last public picture of the Queen was taken as she was driving away from Buckingham Palace. This was with her two dorgies, or in other words, corgis. It should be corgis, really. A cross between a corgi and a Dachshund, Candy and Vulcan, to the castle on March the 19th. This was literally a day before that I finished my college for this long time off. It's been a very long time. Time's gone slow and slow. So the Queen was carried out official duties and the day before her planned departure, but she held a weekly audience with Prime Minister Boris Johnson on the phone, rather than face to face. Of course, as usual, she has made 2 television addresses to the nation during the lockdown. Now, on April the 5th, almost 24 million people, and I saw this, watched as she praised frontline NHS staff and care workers, and reassured the country that COVID-19 will be overcome and those in self-isolation. She said, let me repeat this again, I have said this many times, but she said we will meet again, from Dame Vera Lynn's World War II. So the monarch has been joined by the Duke of Edinburgh, age 98. I thought he retired for good, but he has retired for good. At Windsor Castle, and a small group of household staff have reportedly been isolating with her as well, which is a very nice thing to do. But of course, they haven't been self-isolating with her, but they have been self-isolating. So, we're not going to talk about, right, okay, whoever keeps writing my script out, please do not put Dominic Cummings on there, because we are not talking about him anymore. But for the Queen, I think, good luck to her. If she wants to go out on her garden to go for a riding horse, let her go. Just let her go. So, cops have been launching targeted attacks on journalists. Well, about time. A string of journalists have been arrested for attacked by police while covering the protests across the US. Among the worst cases is photographer Lindo Tirado, who was left permanently blind in her left eye after being shot by a rubber, disgusting bullet, as she captured events in Montrepose on Saturday over the weekend just gone. So, in another case, a police officer was filmed live on air admitting his gun in an NBC news crew in Louisville, Kentucky on Friday. The female reporter, only a short distance away, was heard screaming. She said, "I'm getting shot! I'm getting shot!" she said. "It's rubber bullets," she said. "It's directly at us." So, investigate news outlet Bellingcat, and it had recorded a total of 29 cases. So this was where reporters were covering the unspurring that had been assaulted by officers. It said that many of them appeared to have been targeted deliberately and appeared to have been targeted, of course, a lot. But this is Miss Tirado. She said that the media should not get too distracted by cases such as hers. She tweeted that, "Folks, I really appreciate the well wishes, but a white lady losing an eye is not the injury, and we need to be focused on here." She said, "Keep in mind that folks are protesting of the educational killing of black and brown people, and this is centre that fact in her coverage." So the wife of a police officer as well was charged over the death of George Floyd. Now, we haven't actually spoke about the George Floyd death this week yet, but we are going to talk about it on the show now. So, the wife of police officer was charged over the death of George Floyd and has filed for divorce. This is Mrs. Miniscritti, this is Wyner Kelly Chauvin, who came to the US as a child refuge after her family fled Lewis, and announced the decision through her lawyers. She is devastated by Mr. Floyd's death, and her almost sympathy lies with this family, with his loved ones, with everyone who is. So this is grieving the tragedy. Schedler law officers said that she has filed for dissolution of her marriage to Derek Chauvin. Mrs. Chauvin, whose first marriage to Kelsey Long ended in divorce, and was working as a radiologist when she met her second husband. Now, they chatted when they took in suspect for a health check. This is at Hennepin County Medical Center, which is a causality where Mr. Floyd died last week. Terrible. Jeffrey returned soon after to ask her out, and they married around 10 years ago, ahead of her beauty contest win in 2018. She said, "Under all that uniform, he's just a softie. He's such a gentleman." Poor George Floyd. Terrible, absolutely terrible. And I think we'll just leave that story there, I suppose. Are we going to talk about... I think we should talk about thousands that were joined in this Black Lives Matter UK protest. So, Black Lives Matter protest, because yesterday was, of course, a very special day for this sort of thing. It was spread to the UK over the weekend in thousands that took to a street of London. This is Manchester as well, and Cardiff. So, okay, so... it didn't only just happen in London, but it also happened in Manchester and Cardiff as well. So, racism demonstrates defend bans on mass gatherings as they chanted, "I can't breathe." She waved banners, experienced urgency with George Floyd, who was killed by police in Manchester last week. Terrible. Prospectors said that they also wanted to highlight the treatment of Nick and ethnic majority of black and majority people of UK police. Some held signs that said the UK isn't innocent, while others had lists of it isn't innocent, or others had lists of people who have been killed in police shootings and or died in custody. A similar protest took place around the world, including Germany and Denmark. Marches took to the streets of London 2 days in a row. Yesterday, in Trafalgar Square, though, was it yesterday? No, it was on Sunday. This was actually, sorry, not yesterday. Sunday in Trafalgar Square was followed by a march through central London to the ES Ambrosi. And yes, they were all social distancing, by the way. And of course, Grenfell Tower, seen in 2017, was Blaze Medics in this is in Scrubs, cheered the activity as they walked past the Lister Hospital in Chelsea. No, not Lister Hospital in Stevenage. Lister Hospital in Chelsea, London. And of course, medics were scrubbed to cheer the active, of course, and they were all with staff, and they were all taking a brief break from their work to support the Democrats. And car horns were also honked in support as protesters blocked traffic during the march. While some members of the crowd ignored social distancing, others, well, of course, some people did, of course, ignore social distancing, but they shouldn't have done it at all. Don't you think? I don't think they should have done that march at all, to be honest with you, because of course to do with social distancing, but they did. So, apart early the other day, Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab described footage of Mr. Floyd's death as very distressing. Of course it was, but would not comment on US President Donald Trump's response. He told Sky's Sophia Ridge on Sunday, "What we do now, and we all know that, is that the lead suspect has been charged with murder, and there is a federal review, and we want to see said escalation of all of those tensions and Americans come together." Now, they met and said that 11 people, would you believe, were all arrested and during the after of the march on suspicion of offences including lockdown breaches and assaults on police. So Donald Trump accused of fanning the flames of hate after the branded anti-racism protesters terrorists as the revolt against alleged police brutally continued to spread across the US. The president lashed out, blaming radical left encroaches and the least Messiah politicians as the century opened in fury following last week's killing of Black Dad of Two, of course, George Floyd. I think we should leave that there because I don't really want to talk any more about it. So let's move on, because TV actor and narrator Angelus has died aged 76. Now, tributes have been paid to the actor and narrator after his death. He was best known as a long-term narrator of Thomas the Tank Engine series, really, Thomas and Friends, and for his TV role in Boys from the Black Stuff. He died suddenly at home with his wife on Saturday. Comedian Matt Lucas, he posted that he was one of the greatest TV actors I've ever seen, while the thick of it writer Simon Blackwell, he described him as enormously funny. Liverpool-born Angelus, he lent his voice to the children's TV and a programme for 13 series taking over the Ringo started in 1991. He first appeared on screens in 1970, in the 70s, with roles in Z Cars and 30-minute theatre before a stint in Minder and World's End. He also was in the World's End. He played Arnie in September Song, Martin Nicholas in GBH. This is Luton Boswell in The Liverbirds, and Mickey Startup in Orth Winterson. And he also did Pet Before Appearance in Casualty, The Bill, Holby City and Heartbeat. He was married to Coronation Street actress Helen Worth, who plays Gal Platt from 1991 to 2001. So 10 years she was actually in Coronation Street for, would you believe? And then to model Jennifer Cadstreet. Now, our thoughts, of course, are with the wonderful Angelus, who very sadly has passed away. So our thoughts are with his family, of course. So Mary Berry now, okay, let's talk food. Mary Berry has said that the hopes for her new series on fuss-free recipes that warm the cockles with lift and nation spirit. The former Great British Bake Off judge finished filming 6 episodes of Berry's Simple Comforts in January, and it will be screened on BBC Two later this year. Mary Berry, 85, is shown braving the elements, discovery to the cook, and the most heartwarming dishes in the UK and abroad. She said, as it is a difficult time, I hope Simple Comforts will help put us back on even keel. She said that making the programme was a fond memory of time and when we could travel outdoors. And Karen Ross, boss of production company Sydney Street, said the series was a celebration of those wonderful just sink into dishes brought alive by Mary's skill, humour, of joy of cooking. Absolutely amazing. I think we'll leave those stories there because there's one more story that I do want to talk about on the show now, and that is, if I can find it, big ties in 4 for Belting. Now, undoubtedly, the fight that he went we're talking about Tyson Fury now. He's holding something that he wants on his own hit list, so he never knows what you're going to do. Of course, hang on, should we not talk about that? Should we talk about it? Yeah, okay. So, he says that things about me, himself, all the time, there is so much back and forth, but Tyson Fury himself is only relevant the day, and he signs a contract to fight the day, and he and himself of course, are going to fight as the only time, really, that he should be taking about Tyson Fury, shouldn't he? And I don't really want to be in this position where he is taking him down, he said. He says a lot of contrariable things, and it was for him. And he said, I think that I get away with a lot of things, but I do a lot of work as well. I do a lot of boxing as well. So,